Yo, what's good, man? This is AC Pinchar Podcast with your one and only host, Glory Boy, here with another special interview with the one and only
Janice Marie Hunt.
Okay, yep. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you again for having me.
And my pleasure, my pleasure. And also, we haven't really got into something just right now, but beforehand, I want to start off by saying thank you for bringing me a little gift.
You're welcome.
And I'm gonna try to open it right now, and let's see what it says. She got me 2 cars. She got me she got me chocolate too before.
Yes,
and
I did, but
I ate it.
yesterday.
I ate it.
He made me eat it too. It was for him.
Yeah, it was for me, but sharing is caring.
Okay.
But yeah, so let's see. So we have the first card, as you can see here. And our first card says, I am royal.
And yes, you are.
And it has a black queen on it.
Yes.
And it says, AC Pinchar Podcast, thank you for having me as your guest. Infinite love and respect. Janice Marie
Hunt.
And it says May 2024. Thank you so much for the card. I appreciate it. That means a lot. And also, next card, let's go ahead and read that.
Let's go.
So the next one says, when you sow seeds of kindness, you reap a harvest of appreciation. Thank you. Thank you for being a blessing, infinite love and respect. And who wrote it?
Obviously, Janice Hunt. Who else?
Who else? But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
And yeah, so before we also start this, I want people to actually get to know who you are. So if you can please tell them who you are, what you do. You've already told them your name, though, but what do you do? And also, what makes you a special woman?
Well, what makes me special? I am an orator, facilitator, mentor, teacher, and author. I do all of those things. My latest project has been actually my website. It's called Birth Out of 84. And the title of my book is Prayer, Faith, and Guts Determined to Make It.
Okay.
It is also available on Amazon, and you can purchase it from Barnes & Nobles as well. And, something else that makes me very special. I volunteer for the Niagara Frontier radio reading service. I read to individuals that are blind. So that's dear to me.
Wow,
yes.
Amazing. And also your book, Prayers, Faith, and Guts,
yes.
Which we should have had here, but unfortunately, throughout the busy schedule, people do forget. But I'll make sure I put the book and the link in the description so that way you guys can go ahead and purchase it.
Definitely.
And just take a look at it. And we have one of your T-shirts right there. I'm my
yes,
brother's keeper.
Yes. One of the T-shirts that I have, it says, I am my brother's keeper. And I actually have one that says, I am my sister's keeper as well. And that's another gift that I gave to this wonderful host who invited me to be on his podcast. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. So before we even go ahead and dive into this interview, we said we want to do this with sunglasses on.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our sunglasses. I'm going to grab it for you, so don't worry.
Okay.
And then we can start.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so let me grab it.
Men and women in black. Yep. Oh, yeah, baby. We rocking now.
Oh, we rocking now.
We rocking now, baby.
All right,
yes.
so let's go ahead and start now. So tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up and where were you born? So that way, let's get deep into your story.
Okay. I'm a Buffalonian. I've been in Buffalo for most of my life. I grew up in the Fruit Belt. From 1st to 7th grade. I went to school 37.
Okay.
And then my family moved to a different part of town. We were over in the Bailey area, East Ferry, Genesee area. We've been over there since the 70s. And so my childhood, very good childhood. I have 2 sisters and a brother. I'm the oldest of 4. And really, a uneventful childhood. Went to high school, graduated, and then went straight to work. And it
Wow.
wasn't until much later that I actually attended college. And I'm talking about much later. I wasn't one of those people who took a year off and then went, it was much later for me. And you know what? I've been working for a long time. But now, honey, let me tell you something. I'm doing this entrepreneur thing. This is what I'm doing right now.
Tell us about it.
The entrepreneur thing is this. My website, like I said, is called Birth Out of 84. And it showcases not only my book, but it also showcases my merch, my t-shirts, my hoodies, and my crew necks. And I had the opportunity at the Boulevard Mall at one point to have my things in a store just to see if it could get any traction. And let me tell you, it got traction.
A
And that
lot of
let me know
traction.
that it was sellable. So that's why I continue with doing what I'm doing.
That's amazing. And also, I've actually checked out some of your T-shirts that you showed me and hoodies. And I feel like the reason why they actually receive that attraction is because they perceive like a positive. They give off a positive message. So like all of your T-shirts have a specific meaning to them
Yes.
that's there to impact and empower individuals.
Correct. And that's my purpose. One
Right.
of my hoodies, it's a light blue with white words and it says simply blessed. And obviously I also have the title of my book, Prayer, Faith, and Guts Determined to Make It. I have it in a black t-shirt, white lettering, and also white with black lettering. Everything that I do really is going to
Right.
be significant in terms of spirituality. It's going to be in terms of, encouragement, something thought provoking. It's going to be that as well. I actually have some t-shirts for Mother's Day that says, mothers are amazing, especially mine. And so they've done extremely well.
Wow.
Extremely
And
well.
everybody will buy it, of course, because they wanna show off their mothers.
Show off their
Mothers are
mothers.
amazing, but especially mine.
Especially ours.
Exactly. But yeah, and also in terms of like you just growing up in Buffalo and so on, was you also in church and stuff like that? Did you grow up in church? Because based on your book as well, you kind of like give off some scriptures from the Bible that kind of like highlighted the story of your mother.
Yes, I was raised up in church. We visited a lot of churches and were members of a lot of churches. I used to sing in the choir. No, I
Okay.
can't sing. I said in the choir. That just means I sing with a lot of people, with a lot of instruments.
So they can't hear.
They
They
can't
can't hear.
hear me. Come on, they can't hear me. But I'm like making a joyful noise. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
So I really, really enjoyed that. I was very active. And believe it or not, I actually taught Sunday school. I used to teach teenagers. I used to teach Sunday school. And then much later, I met a woman in Niagara Falls, the late Dorothy Vassell. She had a ministry in Niagara Falls. And I went over there and I met her. And I actually did ministry with her until she passed away. And that's been many, many years ago.
Wow.
And that was amazing. That was amazing. We did a lot of things. We did outreach. We would be, on the street corners. We would be all over. We actually used to travel. She was very instrumental, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman on the inside and outside. Very attractive, but very powerful.
Right.
And so that was a wonderful experience for me. When she passed away, there was a piece of me that left as well. So it was for that time. That was for that time. So
and
I went
and
back.
and also you mentioned to me that the first job that you had was not just a job like anywhere else, but it was also in church. You actually worked in
Yes.
church.
Yes. I was the church secretary. So guess what? I
Tell
got all
us.
your tithes and offerings, and I know what you was giving and what you wasn't giving. Were you giving?
Right.
Oh no, you wasn't giving. I could tell you wasn't giving.
I give when I have. I give when I
I
have.
understand. I'm teasing. But yes, let me tell you how I got that job. I had an aunt who actually was a church secretary and she was pregnant and she was, leaving because she was having the baby.
Right.
And so they asked her, "Do you have someone in mind?" She says, "Yes, I do." And that was my first job, working as the church secretary, running off the bulletins, recording the transactions of the finances that came in to the church. And I was young. I was probably 19. I had no idea about office etiquette. See, I'm polished now, but I wasn't polished at 19.
Right.
And so things I had to learn, and I learned well. So that was my very first job, church secretary.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
And you enjoyed that job every single day.
Every single day I did. I actually worked not only with the as a church secretary. I also worked with the daycare. They had a daycare, so I also worked with the students as well. Little kids. They were little
So
kids.
you was a hustler at
You
that time.
look. I was hoping. I didn't know what I was, but I know now.
Now you know. Now you know. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
and
Yes.
and also, I wanted to also speak on like just your journey growing up. In your household. How was it just being in the house, with your parents, siblings, and so on?
You know, I, I have to admit this. I said I am the oldest of four. I gave my parents a run for their money. I wasn't a bad child. I wasn't rebellion, but I had some things. I really did. I had some things. At the time, there was only just myself and my middle sister. The next two wasn't born until after we moved, and I was mean to my middle sister. I was really mean to her. I don't know why. I just was, and a good childhood. Like I said, birthday parties, growing up, and all of that. And then I just grew up. I
Right.
really just grew up. Good parents, good foundation, solid foundation, and really very much uneventful. Really uneventful. Like I said, I did give my parents a run for their money. I often say this as well.
Mm-hmm.
My siblings, I was a great example for my siblings on what not to do, and they've done well. I was the example of what not to do. And no, when I say that, people might think, well, did she get into drugs? No, I didn't get into drugs. No, I didn't go to jail. No, I didn't go to jail. Just, just certain behaviors, certain patterns that I had in my life. And I used to get all the whoopings. I got them all. I
You get
got
all the
them all. I
movements.
got them all. That was a form of discipline and my mother was a disciplinarian. My father was not. He whipped me one time. And he cried as much as I did.
Wow.
He actually said, "This hurts me more than it hurts you." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? What? I'm the one getting the belt. What are you talking about?" But other than that, no, really uneventful and a good life, good childhood.
That's good. And
Yes.
how was the relationship with, like, let me say, your parents in general? Because a lot of kids nowadays are growing up in broken homes. Where parents, where fathers and mothers are not uh completely united, which leads into kids, like you said, making bad choices, or they want to do what they want to do, and so on, and then it kind of like brings that generational curse within the family. So how was that for you?
My mother ran a tight ship.
Okay.
My mother was a disciplinary. My father was very laid back. My mother did not take any nonsense, no nonsense whatsoever. What she said goes. And if it didn't go, she made it go.
She was the boss lady.
She was the boss lady. She was the boss lady. Dad paid the bills, he made the money, and she ran the house. And so, and both of my parents were on one accord, so it was one accord.
Nice.
I never saw them argue. I never saw them fight. My parents didn't smoke. They didn't drink. They didn't do clubs. They didn't do anything. I
Wow.
don't know why I started doing clubs because they didn't do clubs.
But did you start doing it because of the people you started hanging around with, or
It may have
so
been,
that could be the influence?
it may have been the influence. I didn't do everything that the people that I was around, but I used to go love clubbing. I'll club Friday and Saturday, be in church on Sunday, like, oh Lord, here I go. Here I go.
At least you're telling the truth. Some people be lying.
No, I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth. Friday night and Saturday night, I'll be at the club. Then on Sunday, I'll be in church. Ooh.
Want to get saved? You want to be saved
I
after?
thought I was saved already. I thought I was. I didn't know.
But yeah, but I mean, I get that. I get that. It's a lot. It's a lot of people that like going out. I mean, I used to go out too at some point, but then I kind of said, you know what? It's not like, let me focus on my things. Like every time I go out, it's either I spend so much money or else something might happen. And I was like, you know what? Let me lay back. Let me focus on what's more important to me.
Okay.
Rather
But
than
going out was fun. I used to love dancing, and I could dance. I love dancing. So for me, going out on Friday night and Saturday night was just dancing and having a good time.
okay,
I didn't sit at the bar. I never sat down. That wasn't my thing. That really wasn't my thing. When I went to clubs, I would walk in and go right directly to the dance floor and just start dancing.
wow,
And then I would leave there, maybe go hit another club, and then go hit another club, and then hit another club. But mainly it was just dancing for me. That's all it was, just dancing.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. So dancing was the only thing, but yeah, I
Yes.
get it.
Yeah.
Yep, and it cleans. It's a stress relief. I just had this conversation with someone else. I have a friend that dances, and I was kind of letting them know like, don't stop doing what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
because maybe this is your way of escaping whatever stress, whatever things that you're going through. Maybe it's just a dance. When you dance, how do you feel? They say, I feel good. Okay, then stick to dancing.
Stick to it. And you know what else too? Not only is it a good stress reliever, it keeps weight off.
Okay,
When
right.
I was 19, 20, I used to be slim, man. I used to be slim. I wasn't cute, but I was slim, okay? And I was thinking like, wow. And then as I got older and stopped going to the club and I wasn't dancing, the weight came.
Okay.
Just think about it. If you're partying every weekend, I was only weighing 102 pounds, man. I was tight and firm.
Wow, that's yeah,
Yes.
that's light.
That's light.
Hmm.
Don't ask me what I weigh now. Don't you ask me what I weigh now. Don't you even think about
I'm
it.
not gonna ask.
They
I'm
can see on the
like,
camera. They know they ain't she know 102 plus some more pounds.
yep, I'm not gonna ask that
Don't
one.
ask.
I want to finish this episode in good hands. But yeah, and also, so now let's move forward into your life. Just I know you've already mentioned just not going to college and straight into working, but how was your high school experience? Just growing up as a teenager.
Well, the junior high school that I went to, so from first to seventh grade, I went to School 37, which is in the Fruit Belt on Orange and Carlton. When we moved to the East Ferry, Genesee area, I went to a school called Genesee Humboldt Junior High School. It's actually called Build Academy over on Futuron. So I went there. It was a junior high. It was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade.
Okay.
And it was uneventful, went to the school. Now, I have to say this. From first to seventh, they were all black students. When I went to junior high school, that was my first time interacting with white students.
And how was that?
You know what? It was different. I didn't experience any racism or anything like that, but it just was different. It just was really different. And then the neighborhood that we moved in was primarily white.
Okay.
On our street, there was only maybe two other black families, and you may have been the third black family that moved there. But for the most part, the entire neighborhood at that time, Genesee, East Ferry, that entire neighborhood was all white. You had bakeries, toy stores, meat markets. You had everything.
Wow.
And then it slowly changed. And so growing up, and then I went to high school, and really I was quiet. I was quiet in school. I didn't say anything.
So you were just a quiet kid, just walking around. But did you have like a lot of friends in school, or you was just a lonely child? Because me personally, I think I started off school as like I just want to stay to myself. But then I became like that, like everybody knew me in school, because I started interacting with people. I was very athletic and still,
Okay.
like people would say, oh, he can do this sport, he can do this sport. Then I would gain friends like that. Oh, he can do this. He's funny. I gain friends like that, and I would have like so many different people. But starting off, like, did you kind of like start off just by yourself, or did you start off, with a group of friends?
I think I started off by myself, but then too, just certain people gravitate towards you. So
Right.
I was never popular. And I can say this, in elementary school, I was never popular. I was never the cute girl, the smart girl, or the cool girl. I just was a girl. Okay. It didn't count for nothing. And so in junior high school, I think it was basically the same. I had friends, I had friends that knew me, knew who I was. In terms of hanging, just not really. And then I went to high school. I went to Bennett High School. I went to East High School first, and then I ended up transferring to Bennett High School, and that's where I graduated from. And I did have friends. And again, it was just people that you knew. You had some kind of
Right.
camaraderie with, or whatever. So that's just just
Right.
had some friends. That's all.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't famous. Nobody would. You said you were an athlete. Said I was not.
yeah. I was very athletic. Like
Okay,
in
okay.
schools, every school I went to, it's like when I play any sports, like I've always showed up.
Okay. Okay.
I just want to do my best. I was very, very competitive. So now, just also growing up, let's say throughout like your work experience and so on. Now you've already graduated high school and so on. How was life after then? Like, did you start just enjoying your life because you wasn't in school? Did you travel? Did you kind of like, like you say you was going out and so on? How was that? How was that experience just being out of school for
I
that long?
definitely started traveling. I remember the first trip I went to was Jamaica, and I went with some coworkers. It was about five of us: Maria, Mickey, and two guys. So it was about five of us going to Jamaica, and that was the very first time. I think it was my very first trip out of the state, and we
Okay.
had a blast. And I may have been about 21 years old. And then I started traveling even more frequently, going to Mexico, going to the Bahamas, going to Toronto. And so I was traveling a great deal at that time at 21, 22 years old
Right.
and still working. I went from working as the church secretary. I went from working to an insurance company, and I was really in the insurance industry for a little bit all over. Always office work. I always wanted to be a secretary. So anything to do with office work, secretarial work, receptionist work,
Right.
that's something that I stayed. But I definitely traveled a lot when I was much younger. And then things just kind of settled down. They just kind of settled. So, yeah.
And did you, I mean, because have you heard those stories where when people will go out with their friends, like they will go different countries and so on, and something bad will happen? Did anything ever happen between you and your friends? Like, you travel so far, and then when you come back, you guys no longer friends.
No, that never happened. That never happened. I'll tell you a funny instance that happened. It was hilarious. When we first went to Jamaica, like I said, it was five of us. Three of us worked together, and the other two were like one of the girls' boyfriend and a friend. So when we arrived in Jamaica, when we got ready to leave, two of the guys was trying to figure out how to get marijuana back
Oh,
to the U.S., right? And I'm thinking, you know what? You guys are going to prison, and I'm not going to have anything to do with it. And this is what's so funny. So they was trying to think about, should we put it in some coffee? Can we do something or whatever? So coming back through customs, they put us in two separate lines, right? And so they had me in one line, they had the other young lady in one line, they had the guys in another line, and they would check your suitcase. When they got to me, they went to me first. They just said, go through. They went through all of their stuff. They went through all their clothes. And I said, see, they knew y'all was crooked. They knew y'all was crooked. They was looking at me like, how did they say we should have gave it to her? Oh, no.
oh no.
No, you're not giving it to me. And I laugh about that because they didn't check me at all. I mean, I wouldn't take anything or do anything, but it was so funny. They said, if we wanted to give something back, we could have gave it to her. They didn't even go through her things. They didn't go through her suitcase. They didn't go through. I said, because they know I'm not crooked, okay? That's why they didn't go through my things. And I think about that. And they went through their everything. They took their clothes out. They took tops off things. I was laughing hysterically.
Today's people usually if something like that was to happen, they would say you snitched. But like was that a thing back then where people would say, okay, I think she said something. Because how did they let her go through and they out here checking us?
You know what? I don't even know if the term snitch was out in the 70s and the 80s. It may have been. I just think that they looked suspicious. They looked like they would have something, and they looked at me like, no, and I didn't.
You look so innocent. You just
And they just said, no, go ahead on through. I said, thank you.
That's it. Thank you. And, you
And I
didn't
probably
even-
could have been the one who had all the stuff all packed up, everything all
Right.
nice and everything. I got you.
I God was on your side.
Definitely.
But did they ever get caught with the marijuana? And did they
They,
get in
you know
trouble?
what? They didn't. I don't know if they actually took anything or not.
Okay.
I don't know if they did or not. But I do know that when we went through customs, they did go through all their clothing. They did have coffee. They opened it up. Anything that had a container on it, they were opening up and they were going through it.
Wow.
So I don't know if they actually took anything or not. And I'm going to say no, they didn't because they let them through.
Wow.
They let them
Nice,
through.
nice. At least they got back to the country.
They got back to the country.
Yeah. And also like what are you guys relationship still continuous until today or
You know what? That's been many years ago. Maria, one of the women that she passed away. She passed away several years ago. And her and I, we used to travel. We traveled to we went back to the Bahamas together, just her and I. Wonderful, wonderful woman. And I would tease Maria. Maria, whenever we would go to these countries, the men loved her. They wanted to come home with her. Maria, we would be at the bar or whatever, the pool bar or whatever. Maria, what would you like? They would fix her drink. They look over at me like, what you drinking? I'm like, what? So I would tell Maria, can you have them fix mine for me? Maria, they be talking to Maria. And they look over at me and go, what you eating? I'm like, no respect at all. They would have her omelet fixed a certain way. Would you like spinach with that? And then they would look over at me, you want salt and pepper? I'm like, really? Like, really? So I would just tell Maria,
Right.
this is what I would like, and have your gentleman friend,
Maria, do something.
do
so
something
we can
for
both
me,
eat
so
good.
we can both eat and drink in peace. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. We were in the Bahamas. I had to tell you this. This was hilarious. We were in the Bahamas, and this guy again named Scorpio. Now we know that his name was not really Scorpio. I'm telling you the truth.
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
The cap.
Scorpio. He drove a cab, and so he said, I'm going to take you guys off the resort. I'm going to show you the real town. He took us to all the clubs, the nightclubs. We saw the real nightlife of the people who lived there. We had a terrific time. I'm just so glad we didn't come up missing.
Right.
He actually took us to his apartment, and it was way in the back of this house. It was dark, no lights or nothing. Two of us.
Wow.
Took us to his apartment. He cooked food for us. We partied and had such an amazing time. We just had an amazing time because it was Maria. That's what it was. It had nothing to do with me. It was because of Maria.
It was Maria.
It was all Maria.
Right.
And so when we came back, we were on the bus. The bus had taken us on a boat trip.
Okay.
And so we were on the bus going back to the hotel. Scorpio made the driver stop the bus. He said, tell them two to get off the bus.
So they knew Scorpio.
I guess they did.
Right.
We got off the bus, got in the cab with Scorpio. We had a fantastic time, but it was all because of Maria. Rest in peace, Maria.
That's amazing. Rest in peace to Maria. And so that's it for the part one.
Okay.
So now let's dive into part two.
Okay.
Stay tuned, man. It's Easy Pinchot Podcast. And now that you've already know who Miss Janice is, just a little bit about herself. We're going to dive into the next part. We're going to talk about the book and so on, and talk about some life lessons and stuff that you might have for us.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Thank you so much.